Hey, how's it going? Revision 0 is another crafted exotic weapon. It's a pulse rifle with 2 different firing modes, excellent stats, and a lethal perk. It was time gated, but with this reset the final masterwork was finally made available. Let's do the stats first. Hunter's Trace 4 is the completed base stats, so that's the only relevant version. Revision 0 has 71 range, 70 stability, 35 handling, 43 reload, 50 aim assist, 25 airborne, 18 zoom, 40 in the mag, and 85 recoil direction. This changes a little with perks attached, so let's go through those before discussing which barrels and such are good. Revision 0's perk is, of course, Hunter's Trace. This grants the ability to charge up a gauge with 4 segments by landing crits. Swapping the firing mode with a charged gauge will flick up a high zoom scope and converts each charge into a high damage sniper-like round that deals 476 damage for a headshot and 159 for a body shot. It can indeed one-shot a super. Now that's out of the way, let's move on to the main reason why I wanted to discuss the perks first. This weapon has 2 alternate firing modes that are selectable in menu, much like Suro's Regime. The 2-shot burst and the 4-shot burst. The 2-shot deals 37 for a crit and 23 for a body. Grants plus 15 range and minus 20 stability while equipped. The 4-shot burst deals 27 for a crit and 16 per body and minus 10 range while equipped. The next thing to do is think about how we want to build the weapon. We can go all in on one firing mode to maximize the effectiveness in said mode, or make the weapon a balanced build that does both modes well. That was the way that I chose to go with it. Starting from the stock options, I think we have a very clear winner in fitted stock. This grants 10 stability, but reduces handling by 5, but also boosts the recoil direction by 15, bringing it up to 100. The other options grant 10 stability, 10 handling, or 5 to both with no negatives. But I do think fitted stock is far and away the best option. Back up to the barrels. This is where you start choosing what kind of build you'll take. Because of fitted stock boosting our recoil up to 100, we can ignore all of the recoil options in the barrels. This leaves us with corkscrew rifling, small bore, polygonal rifling, full bore, hammer forged rifling, and fluted barrel. Ultimately, these are up to you, but for a setup that leverages the 4-shot burst, I would recommend taking small bore in the barrels and ricochet rounds in the next column. This will push your stability up to 97, but keep that range at 83. The loss in range between polygonal and small bore is negligible, but keeping range where you can is good even if it's just a little. The reason for taking such high stability is because the 4-shot burst has a very quick time to kill at 0.73 seconds, but requires 2 full bursts of headshot. So you want to keep that stability high to mitigate flinch and keep your shots on target. Next, building for the 2 burst is not as lethal. The time to kill is slower but more relaxed at 1 second with 5 crits and a body shot. And because the sniper mode builds charges based on amount of crits hit, you build it more slowly with the 2-shot burst mode. And functionally, it's the same as Graviton Lance, meaning the weapon is similar to a scout rifle in this form. But because of the shorter burst, it's easier to peek shoot because you don't leave yourself exposed for as long when firing. This weapon also has an advantage over Graviton Lance in that it doesn't weight most of the damage on one bullet, meaning that if you miss a bullet, it's not as punishing as if you were to miss the 2nd shot on Graviton Lance. Back to the perks though. With Hunter's Trace 4, it's not actually possible to go below 96 range with the 2-shot burst, so we take perks for comfiness. For the most balanced stats, I think fluted is a good choice, but if you're more keen on stability, then polygonal is there for you. I don't think it's necessary to be adding on any range to the barrel for this mode. You can get up to 100 range instead with a mag option. Ricochet is always good, but I think you might be best off with high cal to help outflinch other players since you have that rather slow time to kill. Now that we've got more perks to choose from, a lot of great options and multiple ways to go a little more specific and advanced in your crafting. So these extra perks to choose from are Moving Target, Eye of the Storm, Perpetual Motion, Elemental Capacitor, Slick Draw, and Vorpal Weapon. Moving Target is always good, a little aim assist and movement speed ADS. Eye of the Storm, elite perk, probably the best in this column in my opinion. It gives you huge accuracy boosts when you damage. Perpetual Motion, it's very wasted if you're using the 4-shot burst built for high stability, but you can use it with full bore to kind of min-max your stats. Elemental Capacitor can help you bring up unwanted stat holes if you favour a specific subclass, allowing more and different crafting choices, such as not taking fitted stock as your stock and then playing stasis instead. Slick Draw gives you maxed out handling at the cost of aim assist, powerful in the right hands but use at your own peril. And finally, Vorpal Weapon, but I think all of the other weapons here are more favourable despite Vorpal's niche usefulness. Finally, the Masterwork column grants the choices between even more perks. Feeding Frenzy, Under Pressure, Outlaw, and 4th Time's the Charm. I think as far as PvP goes, the best choices are pretty handily Under Pressure and Outlaw. I'm more of an Outlaw guy myself, but I can definitely see the use cases for Under Pressure. I just find myself being the kind of player that will get a kill and then reload without shooting my magazine all the way down. And to reiterate, I think the best roles for each main building path is Fluted or Polygonal with Ricochet or High Cal, almost any 3rd slot perk, Fitted Stock and Outlaw or Under Pressure for a pure 2-shot burst setup. For a general 4-shot burst setup, Polygonal Rifling or Small Bore, Ricochet rounds, any 3rd column perk other than Perpetual Motion with Fitted Stock and Under Pressure or an Outlaw Masterwork. And for a setup that swaps between the modes, Polygonal or Corkscrew, Ricochet rounds or High Cal, any of the 3rd column perks other than Perpetual Motion, same stock and Masterwork as the others. I think that this is a weapon that's very easy to waste stats in because they reach so high, so be careful when you're crafting and swap your perks around to make sure you're not wasting any stats. As for my thoughts, I really like this gun. It's quite fun and very consistent. It's lethal on its own, but becomes even scarier when you switch the mode and gain the ability to start popping other players like a Vex Mythoclast. This weapon is a must-have in my opinion, super good. It even has a degree of PvE potential with 4 times the Charm and Vorpal Weapon. Hope this video helped you out in some way. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Together as one.